Welcome to The Road Reflected with Nicole Wakeland. Automotive from the lighter side. That means cars, but also cookies, coffee, and pie. Up first, what's Nicole behind the wheel of this week?
This week I'm driving the Dodge Hornet.
Ooh, did you get a green one? Because then it would be the Green Hornet.
It's not the Green Hornet. No, boy, that's quite the callback there. Wow.
Yeah.
No, it is not. In fact, it is this beautiful, vibrant red color. It's absolutely
it was
gorgeous.
a good color. Yeah,
it's a good color, but it's not green. The Green Hornet. Now I want to buy a Hornet, but make it green.
Yes.
And
they should show it always in green. That feels like a miss.
Well, the red's really pretty.
Okay.
I feel like green's one of those car colors that people, even the more vibrant sort of emerald greens they do all the time now, people either love it or hate it.
But for the Green Hornet, it needs to be like a dark green that just sort of oozes green, but it's like still pretty dark. You know what I mean? Like a
oozes.
Yeah,
that makes it sound like slime.
I'm just thinking of the car back when like Bruce Lee was.
I don't even remember the car. I'm going to be honest. Yeah. I did not watch that as a child. When I did
because it was a crossover with Batman and Robin. That's what made it cool.
Back in the day. Oh, yeah. Oh, that totally makes sense. Then I get it. Yeah. So either way, driving a Dodge Hornet. I love the logo. You noticed it, the little Hornet on the.
Yes.
It's this cool little Hornet. So it looks cool. The funny thing is, no one knows what the heck this car is.
No, because it's small. It was funny because it's got that little aggressive Hornet logo on it. And when I saw it in the driveway, I kind of thought it was like a small hatchback, like unassuming car. Then it's got this like angry Hornet, like I got an engine.
It is because it's a crossover, and the whole point of this one was Dodge wanted to have, they'd have the Durango, they have the Charger and Challenger, their muscle car, the Brotherhood of Muscle. They wanted to get into the crossover game because there's such a popular segment. Everybody has a crossover. Most automakers have like 18 different versions of crossovers in every shape and size. They're like little nesting dolls of crossovers.
Yes.
You can go right there. So, but this is the only one that they have. They have this crossover. And so it was new last year. Mm-hmm. There's a gas and a plug-in hybrid version of this car. We have the plug-in hybrid. Mm-hmm. It drives just fine as standard all-wheel drive, 288 horsepower. It's very fun. I enjoy driving it. I like the interior. The interior fits the Dodge thing and it fits the sporty vibe they're going for. The front seats are pretty heavily bolstered in there, and they have Alcantara on them, which is like suede for normal people. It's like a suede interior, but it's perforated. So the top layer is black and the bottom layer is red. So you see the little red dots.
Yes.
Peek through. It's really cool. I love how it looks.
It looks cool. And then there's those giant oversized paddle shifters just sell.
That's the only thing I don't like them, because here's the reason I don't like the paddle shifters. They're very large.
Yes.
So that as you turn the wheel, you can hit them no matter where the wheel is turned, because they're on the column.
I don't get to drive these cars, so I couldn't feel that problem.
So the problem that happens is when you're driving, and you know how you don't take your hands off the steering wheel and grab the turn signal. You normally just use
reach
your
out with your fingers, right?
If you reach out with your fingers, you smack your fingers into the paddle shift.
So it should have been half height or smaller or something.
It's just it's awkward. It's awkward. So that
looks
was
better than it functions.
But they do look really cool. So there's like an actual plus sign carved on the upshift and a minus sign that's carved out on the downshift. So it looks really cool. It is fun to drive to. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy driving this. It has a little bit of a loud, on purpose, like engine note when the engine's going. It's Dodge, Dodge. Features that are cool. There's a 10.25-inch infotainment touchscreen, a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster. It's got USB-A and USB-C charging ports. So it has all the kind of stuff that you want it to have.
The amenities.
It has the amenities. Yeah. Not super huge, though. So in terms of cargo room, it's only got about 23 cubic feet in the rear seats, just under that. I mean, in the rear seats, in the cargo area behind the rear seats. Does have the nifty little pass-through. So in the center armrest, if you pull that down in the rear seats, then there's a little door and you push the little thing down and the door pops open.
You can slide your skis or something through there.
That's exactly what it's for. If you had skis, you can stick your skis right through there because it's small, which is kind of nice because it gives you a little extra versatility. You could technically put two people in the rear seats and slide some skis through, and you would not lose that seat. You only use the middle seat.
Or the golf course, I suppose.
I don't think you could. Golf clubs are too fat.
Oh,
like it's a rectangle. Like think how big a golf bag is.
So it's really just for like a 2x4 or skis?
Skis.
Okay.
Skis.
I guess you can haul wood back to the house.
Skis or a handful, an armful of 2x4s.
Sometimes you just need some wood for
I guess maybe you just need some 2x4s.
Yeah, right.
So I enjoy driving this. It has about, it doesn't have a huge amount of range. I want to say it's about 30 miles of all electric range in this.
That's better than my Jeep.
No, wait, is it? I feel like it is. That's what I have in my head, but I might be pulling that from a different thing. But so it's a great car. The problem is it is starts, there's two trims, the RT and the RT Plus. The RT is $41,400, so not cheap. The RT Plus is $46,400. So you're starting at kind of a high price point.
Yeah, when I first got in this car, I was like, ooh, this is nice. Looks like a small, great little car, affordable. And you're like, nope. And I'm like, it needs to, it's just, that's its only weakness is it feels pricey for what it is. It's a little price.
So, and we're just saying there are so many crossovers. Now, fewer that are plug-in hybrids. So you're more limited on that front. But there's just so many options in this segment. It is 30 miles range. I just double checked myself.
I mean, you pay more for the plug-in hybrid, so I get it, but that still seems high.
Yeah, that's still kind of high. So you have a lot of, and it has standard all-wheel drive, so that's a good thing too. So it's not outrageous, but it's not, it's not the most, it's hard to find a reason. Like some cars, like I feel like when there are so many different competitors in the segment, you have to find a reason to say you should buy competitor A over B, C, D, E, or F because A has this. Or if this is your priority, buy D. Or if this is your priority, buy F. If your priority is you want a Dodge, like you really want to get a Dodge, then this is a great option. The Hornet is really cool. The kind of neat thing about it, you don't see a lot of them. And because no one knows what it is, every person we had in that car looked at that car and said, what is that? So, and the funniest part about this, and I feel like this is a little marketing issue, perhaps, one of those people has owned 3 Dodge Chargers.
Yes, they love their Dodges.
But they don't know that Dodge makes the Hornet.
No.
The other person has owned 2 or 3, I forget, Dodge Challengers because they too love Dodges. Also, what the heck is this Dodge? They realized that this car existed and was in fact a Dodge when they sat down next to me and saw the Dodge bars on the steering wheel. And it's embroidered on the headrest. It's actually on the headrest as well. Looked and like, what? This is a Dodge?
Right.
What is this? Now, cool, because now you're driving a car that's a little unique and no one knows, but also I feel like these are people who buy your brand, and the fact that they don't know is a little bit disconcerting.
I'm a little worried for Dodge on this one.
I don't know how well, and there's also, because Dodge is part of Stellantis, which nobody knows this unless you're a car person. Stellantis is the umbrella company that owns
everything.
Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Maserati, Fiat. I think that's it. I might be missing something. Anyways, they own a whole bunch of brands in the U.S. This is one of the ones they own. They also own Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo has the Tonale. It's the same general
so we're mixing and matching now.
But the interior is a little bit more upscale, I would say, on the Alfa Romeo, and the tuning is a little bit different, a little sportier. So they're kind of the same. But
it's also why you look at this, you don't see Dodge. Because it's a different
front, the front, definitely you see Dodge in that grille, the front end design, like it looks dodgy. That's probably the wrong description. It looks Dodge-ish.
Dodge-like.
Looks Dodge-like.
Challenger. It looks like a Charger or a
So
Challenger.
it has great style, and it is very fun to drive. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. And I do think that the interior looks really, really slick.
But it doesn't have muscle car vibes. That's the other. It has more hot hatchback vibes.
More hot hatchback vibes. And I'm totally a sucker for those seats. The way those Alcantara seats look with the black and then the red that pops through. When I saw that when they did the launch program last year and we got to drive the Hornet in its gas and hybrid forms, I said, I just want these seats on everything. I absolutely love the seats in the Dodge Hornet. Okay, everyone, if you like what you're hearing, then go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe either on YouTube or your favorite podcatcher.
And don't forget to leave us to leave us positive reviews on iTunes.
Words are so hard. Forget me not. Okay, the other car that I want to talk about this week, I had for 3 whole days.
Ooh, that's a very short window.
Short. Yeah. It came, I drove it, it left.
Oh, yes.
The reason I had this one for just 3 days, this car is the VW ID7.
Yes.
Which is a new EV from Volkswagen. It's not out in the U.S. yet.
No, and its arrival was most momentous at our home.
Because it was funny. Everyone was sort of watching because they have, I think, literally one.
It arrived in a giant truck.
Yeah, so they trucked it up from New York. It wasn't part of my usual, because they only have one.
Right.
And the reason they gave it to me was because I'm a member of the World Car Awards jury.
Right.
And World Car means you get cars from everywhere. So in an effort to make sure that as many people who could vote for this car, because it's eligible for several categories, that we all had a chance to drive it and to be able to vote on it.
Even though it's not sold in the U.S., it's Europe only.
It will be.
Oh, is it?
It's not here yet. And it's a timing issue because a lot of times cars, even the same car comes out in Europe at one time and comes out in the United States at another. There's all sorts of complications in how this stuff works. Europe will have it. This is actually a Euro spec car, meaning it was made for Europe. This physical car I had is made for Europe.
Yes.
Even if it has the same name in the United States, it's going to be a little different. A lot of times it's tuning. They tune cars a little bit differently for people because people expect different things in Europe from a car than they do in the United States. So you will find differences. Sometimes there's more major things that change. Sometimes lineup changes because they want to have a higher priced one in one place, but not in the other, or a lower priced one in one place, but not the other. That the ID7 is going to be slightly different. So I drove a Euro spec ID7, which was hilarious because front plates, European plates, rear plate, Michigan. Yeah. It was the strangest thing. So I had two different plates.
It's funny too because the truck pulls up and he's dropping the car off, and usually that means like and it's a box truck, so you can't see what's inside of it when it pulls up. And normally when those happen, and they don't happen very often for you, when they do, it's like some kind of super fancy car that they don't want on the road. Like they're trying to keep the mileage low. Because it usually comes up from far away for these things.
New York City. Normally it's a New York fleet.
So this one pulls up and it rolls out and it looks like an unassuming VW. I'm like, why didn't you just have the driver drive it up? Because it's European spec and it's a plug-in electric, the plug-in is an electric for Europe. So that the high capacity chargers only are European. They don't have it here in the US. So they had an adapter, which made level 2s work. But that would have been charging really hard because it makes many hours to charge. So they're like, we couldn't really drive it that far on a level 2.
Which is the other challenge. And again, when it gets here, that won't be an issue.
It'll be more
it's
of
just
our level 3s.
Europe thing. So this is a sedan, but it has a hatchback. But I don't want anyone to think of it as just a hatchback because you think of hatchbacks and you think a tiny little hot little hatch is not a hot hatch. If you just look at this, even knowing it's a hatchback, it looks like a sedan.
It does.
But it just has that extra cargo versatility that you get from having a hatchback. Beautiful inside.
Very nice.
Comfortable. Plenty of room for you. And then our daughter you're 6'3", our daughter's like 5'6".
Very roomy. It felt like a large sedan.
Yeah, it feels like a large sedan. Very roomy vehicle. Great to drive. Wonderful handling. There's some cool stuff out about it. And I love driving this. The thing is, because this is Euro spec and because US stuff hasn't been released, I don't know exactly how it's going to differ from the US version. To some degree, yes. To some degree, no. So one of the things is because of pricing and how pricing goes in Europe and all these things, it would be priced, if you just took it as priced in Europe and put it in the US, it'd be too expensive. No one would pay that much. Pretty good guess that it's probably going to be about 50,000-ish here.
For pure EV that size?
Right. Okay. And it's nice. And it's a more premium Volkswagen.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a luxury car.
Right.
But for Volkswagen, this is a more premium Volkswagen. It had great acceleration. It was quiet, not just the EV part of it that means there's no engine, so it's quiet, but just the road noise and the wind noise. It was quiet. It was comfortable. I went for a nice long drive in it, chatted with my daughter, and it was very easy. It was very road trippable. It was very comfortable. I really enjoyed driving this. The interior is really pretty. There's all this like blue trim. The seats were nice and supportive. Really nice seating surfaces too. The only thing that my little mark against it was, and I hated this in the Rivian too, the air vents are not actual vents you can physically grab and move.
Why do they do this?
I don't know. I think sometimes they just think you can put all this stuff into it.
They want it to be digitally controlled and you like use your fingers on the touchscreen, and it's so distracting for the driver. It's not effective.
Yeah, it's not great.
And the passenger too, because it's very confusing.
Well, and if the passenger doesn't know, like once you learn if it's your car and you ride in it or drive it, you'll get it. But if you just have random Joe, change the air vents, right? So I'm not a big fan of having the air. It looks slick when you slide your finger along the screen, but it is just not practical.
It's one more thing that breaks.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that I'm worried about the brake.
Okay.
Braking would be more if you had a physical control, not in thing. Yeah. So so it's not the braking. It's just, I don't like having it that way. I don't feel like it's easy to do. There is a nice large screen though. It's a 15-inch screen.
That look cool.
It's very responsive. Looks really cool. But one of the things that I loved the best was actually something that and I did not confirm this with Volkswagen, but I don't think we're getting it in the United States, maybe quite yet. They have what they call dynamic headlights, from what I can find by looking at the specs that are available online for the one that's over in Europe.
Yeah, right.
Right, you've seen adaptive headlights. We have those in the US. They've been approved within the last few years, even though they've been in Europe for ages. Our NHTSA, the governing board that decides what's safe, in the interest of safety, has maybe some might say a little overcautious. It's like change your regulations to let newer, better stuff come here, because newer, better doesn't fit the old guidelines, but it's newer, better. So go with the newer, better, right? But these headlights, I don't know, did I drive in this at night with you? Because I only had it for one day. It is like to really, really drive. it doesn't just dim your headlights. It's not like automatic high beams. So as you're driving, it detects a car oncoming. And instead of saying, oh, I should put low beams on, it lowers the beam so it's a low beam just where it detects there's a car in the way.
Oh, wow.
So maybe a giant truck coming to you, it might lower like
so it kind of
a third of it.
So one light gets lower?
No, it's not one light. It literally is that same beam. It's like the way it does. So imagine the beam is like one solid beam.
It carves the car out of the beam.
Exactly. It carves a little spot out of the beam.
That's cool.
And then as the car gets closer, the carving sort of changes.
And then it
goes away. Right? So the beams will even dip down or up depending on where it is. So you see it at first. And as someone who's never experienced this, it's funky. You're like, what are the headlights doing? Then you realize, you think, oh my gosh, it's actually keeping from blinding and changing out the lights.
That's crazy.
It's really cool. Even we have a couple of road signs that are road signs are always reflective.
Right.
Super reflective.
Right.
So it's very bright. It even
it reduces the glare for the driver.
I think it maybe caught. I don't know if it was on purpose but it reduces because it's picking up that glare. It's like glare, and it reduces. It was the coolest thing to watch. And Kit was with me, and she could see it. She's like, I can actually see it moving.
Oh, that's
from
cool.
the driver's seat. She could see the pattern on the road.
Yep.
So that's really cool. I thought that was very, very neat. So that'd be a neat thing to come to the US. I'm not sure that it will. So when this goes on sale, and what I can confirm is that Volkswagen said when it goes on sale, they're aiming for it to have about 300 plus miles of range. Mm-hmm. That's pretty good.
That's really
It'll
good.
be in Q3, sometime in Q3.
This year?
This year.
Oh, I thought it'd be farther than that.
No. It's just inside. It's not really that far. It's almost March. Q3. It's going to be rear-wheel drive. It's going to be 280 horsepower or 355 horsepower, depending on the trim that you get. And it's, like I said, it's probably, and they couldn't tell me a price. I'm thinking it's probably going to start around $50,000. The one I was driving is basically like our top trim here.
Right.
And it has like the 21-inch wheels, and it looks beautiful. It's going to be about the same size as the Volkswagen Arteon, which is another car that they have, or a little bit bigger than a Model 3. And it's going to be all the same safety features that are going to be standard on the base trim. And I actually like the leatherette seats that they had. That's going to be there. And the glass roof. They have a glass roof. And I was really wondering if the glass roof was going to stay. That's kind of an expensive thing to do. The glass roof is going to stay. So I liked this. I thought it was really neat. I was excited and very grateful that Volkswagen gave me a chance to drive it, because you can't get this here yet. And you can't really drive it. So I got a Euro spec car on my driveway in a fancy truck, and I think the neighbors were a little bit.
Everyone's like, "What is happening?
Right, what is she getting?"
Because it was a Sunday.
It's a little gray Volkswagen sedan. You don't know, but I'm thinking, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, the ID7 is here!" Because it was a big deal. Because I did. They also had it when we did our World Car Test Drives in California.
Yep.
But there's a lot of jurors and only so much time, and I hadn't had a chance to drive it. So they had tried to get it to the jurors to give everybody just an extra taste to make sure we could make our decision before our voting, which is going to be announced at the New York Auto Show, which is not that far off.
Nope.
So when they announce the winners. And this way, the ID7 has as much of a chance as possible, because U.S. jurors also were able to drive this, even though it's not here yet. Hey, wait, did we just drive by a bakery? Okay, we didn't drive by a bakery, but we drove by and then tried to come back, and they were closed. It was a Girl Scout cookie stand.
Yeah, did we just drive by a Girl Scout troop dressed as inflatable dinosaurs?
Okay, so these girls, there's an ice cream shop in town, and they let them in their parking lot. This ice cream place isn't even open.
No.
But the owners probably gave them permission. It's on a nice,
because it's the Girl Scouts, come on.
right? So like, if the Girl Scouts want to have a cookie booth at your place, I'm like, say yes, be a decent human. Right. So they have this cookie booth, and we're on our way to something that I can't remember where we were going, but we had a limited amount of time.
Yes, we were a bit in a rush.
We only had so much time, so it was like, we said, well, we'll come back when on our way back, and we'll stop. Well, they were gone.
Yeah, we missed them.
And I was very sad, but we had a Facebook group where someone was talking about it, and a mom said, hey, that was one of my daughters. Here's a link you can order online. I thought, I am so ordering online, because those girls were out there with posters.
Yeah, I look for the
dancing.
Girl Scouts that are out there in the cold, doing it the old school way, either going door to door or in the parking lots or standing out in the cold at a store or whatever.
Well, and they're standing out in the cold, and you know those blow up costumes you see kids wear that are dinosaurs?
Yeah,
one of the girls was I think it was a pink unicorn.
Oh, I think it was a pink unicorn.
Yeah, a pink unicorn that she was dancing around in. So we ordered cookies from them, and I have I love the Girl Scouts, and I love the cookie sale thing. I was a brownie a million years ago, back before they had cookie booths. You had to hope and pray that you either knew your parents or somebody knew somebody at work whose daughter
the guys
or
always
you
bring
go
it to the
door to door.
office.
Yeah.
But there was door to door back in the day because everybody sold door to door.
Now they don't encourage that as much because of safety concerns.
Yeah, stranger danger.
So stranger danger. So, but you can still find the cookie booths where they'll have like on weekends a lot.
Although our kids did door to door back in.
Our kids did a little bit of door, but even then they
just in our neighborhood.
discourage
the same places
They
we trick or
discourage
treat.
it.
I know, but we kind of know the neighborhood.
We went to neighbors we knew, which they don't discourage. They just don't
we
want you going to strangers and knocking on their doors.
Exactly.
So we got cookies, which is like, and when the biggest temptation ever, I swear to God, it's like the crack cocaine of pastries. You cannot avoid them when they're in your house.
No, you first of all, it's very easy to eat the entire box.
Oh my God. And they're also not huge numbers in some of those boxes.
No, they've definitely gotten smaller over the years, which is a whole different topic.
$6 a box, and still gladly I'm saying, take all my money,
I'm so glad it
Girl
goes to a
Scouts.
good cause because it is a little pricey, but they still have, well, some of them still have that classic flavor that's so good.
Yes,
So.
they are really good. And when I was a troop leader, when our girls were little, I was also the cookie mom. That's a
Yes,
that's
you were
a
the
title.
cookie mom.
I was cookie mom.
You were cookie mom.
And that means that you pick up the cookies at the warehouse and you distribute them to the girls.
Our
from your
garage was
basement.
full of a lot of cookies.
Well, and at one point we had them downstairs in like
remember.
our family room, and our family room was just wall to wall.
Literally, it was like a warehouse of Girl Scout
and
cookies.
some of them are already sold by the girls in the troop, but some of them we
Pre-orders.
actually have for the cookie booths. We take them out. And I was like, you want to know temptation? You have 100 cases of Girl Scout cookies in your house, and you could I'll just buy one, put $6 in, buy one, put $6 in. I ate so many cookies.
Yeah, we learned about the politics of the cookie booths and where they're located and territorialism.
Yes.
And the different Girl Scout troops.
Well, and here's a fun fact about Girl Scout cookies.
Yes.
It's theoretically the same recipe everywhere, but not the same baker. There's two different bakeries. There's ABC Bakers and Little Brownie Bakers.
Yes.
Little Brownie Bakers
They
is
have my
what
heart.
they've had. Yeah, that's what's been baking the cookies for the New Hampshire Girl Scouts.
They're based in Vermont.
I think forever,
Yes.
like since I was a kid.
And I kind of feel like they were the OG Girl Scout cookie bakers.
I think they may have
And the
been.
reason I say that is if you aren't sure which Girl Scout cookies you're getting, there's two easy ways to tell. One, you have to look at the box and the name of the bakery's on the box somewhere. But the easier way to tell is if you are buying a box labeled Coconut Delights, you are buying from ABC.
Is
If you're
that
buying
true?
a box
Are you sure?
labeled Samoa's, yes. Because I know, here's how it's easy to tell.
But is that everywhere? I don't know.
Massachusetts does not use Little Brownie Bakers.
But you don't know if that's just Massachusetts.
I'm just
There's
saying,
all these different Girl Scout
Massachusetts
councils.
is ABC. I'm just thinking because Massachusetts is ABC,
You're assuming,
and they're labeled Coconut
And you know
Delights.
what they say about assuming.
I'm just saying my hypothesis.
I'd like to be clear that he is
I am
assuming.
not stating with certainty,
not.
although I've done some experiments with this. Here, write in, email us, let me know. But if they're named their original name brands like Samoa's or Thin Mints,
Right, because not every place. So Samoa's are caramel delights some places.
Yes.
And Do-si-dos are peanut butter sandwich cookies. And I think tagalongs are like chocolate peanut butter or chocolate covered peanut butter.
even trifles and Thin Mints, I'm not sure about.
Trefoils, not trifles. Trifles is
Trefoil.
trefoils.
Trefoils.
T-R-E foil.
Okay.
Trefoils. And they look like the little Girl Scout.
Yeah, they look like the logo.
The logo. So I like the Little Brownie Baker ones. I think they taste better because we had at one
Way
point,
better.
because we're all really tiny states here in New England. We're wee little states.
And I've done taste tests, so I'm very serious about this situation.
yeah.
I bought the Samoas and the Coconut Delights, and I've tried them side by side. Just saying, not the same.
And so, and you depending on where, like if you are on the border, you could get a troop. Do you have a
Yes.
New Hampshire troop? Do you have a Massachusetts troop? So you don't necessarily have to pay attention to see
gotta
which
look at
kind
those boxes.
Although I did have an argument with a friend the other day, and she said that Massachusetts ones are better. I said New Hampshire ones are better.
She's incorrect.
We were somewhere where I was at where she works, and one of her people that reports, I guess you'd call it a direct report, said, "Oh, I like the New Hampshire ones better." And she looked at me, she's like, "You're fired." I'm like, "Lost your job
Not
over
wrong.
Girl
It's
Scout
the Little
cookies."
Brownie Bakers. They know what's up.
I know. I like the Little Brownie Bakers. I
Yeah.
think they have what's your favorite flavor? Absolutely, you can get one box and that's
Oh,
it.
it's always Samoa's.
See, and I don't like
Which
this.
is why I'm so serious about this whole Samoa caramel delight thing, because that's the one thing. But the other thing is there's
But
a
I
lot of
don't.
new
What I'm
flavors.
saying is, I believe the ones in New Hampshire, Mass taste different, but I don't know that every place you go. I think they're not. I don't know that that's the name. How the naming convention changes.
Could be.
Yeah.
But there are some new flavors too. Have you tried some of the newer ones?
They have a s'mores flavor,
Yeah, it's called s'more, and it has the
like
shape
marshmallow.
like they're like rectangular.
Yes.
Like sort of like shortbread vanilla cookies with like marshmallow and chocolate in them.
Those are really good.
And there's a new one this year.
I forgot what it was called.
Adventuresome.
Adventuresome, and it's got that's what they call them here, and it's like a
They're
cookie with caramel in the middle.
and they're round chocolate sort of brownie style cookies.
Yeah, they're really
with
good.
a caramel layer in it, almost like a
Toffee Fay. They
almost
make
like
you
a toffee
think of a
fay.
toffee
It looks like a toffee
candy.
a little bit. And then they've got chocolate stripes across it. And the Girl Scouts who sold it, because we've never seen them before, she's like, microwave them for like 30 seconds.
She said 10.
Well, I did 30.
I know, but she said.
And then I did a minute. Microwave is awesome because they get all melty and they're like, oh man, they're good. So Adventuresomes, give them a try.
They were really good. So we like those. So your favorite's the caramel, the Samoas, which I don't like because I don't like coconut.
Yeah.
I'm not a coconut fan.
That's
I don't like coconut. I'm a peanut butter person, so I like Do-si-dos.
All the peanut butter ones you like.
And I like the tag-alongs. But I also, Do-si-dos are like Oreos. You can open them up. So I always take the top off, and then you eat the peanut butter out of the middle, and then I eat the bottom one.
Now,
it's
also,
a 3-part process to eat
over
a
the years, I developed a strong affinity for Thin Mints.
Yeah?
And here's why.
I'm not
So I always ask you to get a
Mints.
box of Thin Mints whenever we see them. And the reason is, I used to think Thin Mints are pretty good. And they're particularly good with milk. But then, thanks to our other podcast and listeners in Australia, I learned about something called the Tim Tam Slam.
But that's Tim Tams, not Thin Mints.
I know. Wait for this. So for those who don't know about the Tim Tam Slam, the Tim Tam is an Australian cookie that is a chocolate-covered wafer cookie, basically.
Yep, like a rectangle.
And the Tim Tam Slam is you bite the ends off each of it and try to turn it into a straw.
Like diagonal ends, top left and bottom right.
It looks about the size of a Twix.
Yeah.
So you bite the ends off, and then you put one end in milk, and you slurp it, and the milk comes through it like a straw.
It was hot chocolate.
Well, they think they use hot chocolate.
Yeah.
You can also use milk.
Because it
goes
makes it
through
melty.
there, and it makes it so you take, so now you take a Thin Mint. Trust me on this, it works. You take a Thin Mint, it's a little messy though, and you bite a little bit off the top, a little bit at the bottom, and you suck the milk through a Thin Mint.
I'm going to make a disclaimer right here.
It is delicious, people.
I'm going to make a disclaimer right here because
Thin Mint Slam.
I am not recommending this to anyone because when some kid tries this and the entire kitchen is full of milk and cookies, but when they make a disastrous mess of the kitchen, send your emails to Russ Wakelin,
I'm just
not
saying,
Nicole.
As an adult, maybe this is a 16-year-old
as a man, which tells you a lot. I love you, babe,
Thin Mints,
but that tells you a lot.
Dipped in milk. If you Tim Tam Slam a Thin Mint Slam, it's the way to go.
I think you should just Tim Tam Slam. Now we need to go buy Tim Tams somewhere.
But I still got a box of Thin Mints to work on. So
you do have a box of Thin Mints. You haven't even started yet.
Thanks for listening to The Road Reflected. To follow more of Nicole Wakelin's adventures, head on over to NicoleWakelin.com. There you'll find links to her social media from TikTok to Twitter, as well as her work across a wide range of media outlets. Until next time, keep it shiny side up.